Welcome. I'm Richard Hasnote, and I'm your host for the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast and this Wisdom Inspired Life YouTube channel. If for any reason you'd like to email me, you can email me at richardwib@gmail.com. You can see the address on the screen here. I'd love to get back to you quickly, and maybe we even Zoom. How about that? Well, I'm sharing with you some playlist topics, and this is from the playlist Wow Words of Wisdom playlist. And there are a number of very, very interesting topics in this playlist. Just run through a few here for you. The spiritual laws of success. Very profound and powerful book is the source of all this. How to live with joy. This comes from a book, Living with Joy, by Sanaya Roman, that transformed my life back when I read it many years ago. Sogyal Rinpoche, a great Tibetan master who's since passed, who I studied with many times. And he has shared some great wisdom in episodes that are on this playlist. Paramahansa Yogananda, my beloved guru, founder of the Self-Realization Fellowship, a God-realized avatar. Great words of wisdom from him. And in that connection, several of these episodes deal with inputs from a great, great wisdom text, the Bhagavad Gita, on life purpose, sex and love, and a whole lot more. And then to change gears a bit, talking about words of wisdom, which is the title of this playlist. Words of Wisdom. John Lennon's song, Imagine. Has that got some great wisdom? And then the Beatles song. We'll examine an episode, The Wisdom in All You Need Is Love. So, lots of topics here. Go check out the playlist. Wow, Words of Wisdom videos. You'll probably find something that's very interesting and potentially very helpful for you. Okay, this is another in the Words of Wisdom series, where I share wisdom from books that have been helpful to me and that I'm aware of. In this particular case, it's not from this particular book. In this episode, we're talking about wisdom quotes from the Torah. The key source of wisdom within Judaism. And there's some great, if you're interested in this at all, there's a whole lot of, if you Google it and everything, there's a lot of great wisdom quotes. This is to give you a sense of the great wisdom and power in this source document. On 6 days work may be done, but on the 7th day you shall have the Sabbath, a complete rest, holy to the Lord. Now, when I was growing up, which was a long time ago, there was a great deal of belief and practice in this. Not a lot of stores were open on Sundays. Not quite as restricted as Christmas, but not very far from that. We've moved from that, as you well understand, to where stores are not only open on Thanksgiving, they're open on Christmas. Not sure what to do with all that, but you get the wisdom quote here. Next, you shall have no other gods before me. In an earlier episode in Judaism, there is only one God. Judaism is an ancient wisdom and religious tradition that I've read was the first one to be monotheistic, namely, there are no other gods, there's one God. A great, great contribution to the wisdom traditions, to where all of them today, all of the major ones for sure, are very monotheistic in that way. Next, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and will, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Now, there is a level of love here that is unequivocally strong, pure, and all-pervading. And that is the goal when you live a wisdom-inspired life, to be able to get to love God with the passion that you see here. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Okay? Great standard. Next, Torah is not just a book, not just a bunch of laws, and not just a history, but so much more. The Torah is a way of life to learn and live, and when studied, a spiritual way to understand life, as well as providing instructions on getting closer to God. This is the great, great power and contribution of the Torah. Okay? It is, and in this way, it shares with other wisdom traditions. It's a way of life to learn and live, and when studied, a spiritual way to understand life. I've shared with you excerpts from the Christian Bible, from the Bhagavad Gita, from Islam, quotes from Muhammad, and all these great wisdom, all these really great wisdom traditions will tell you the same thing. They have their own core Bibles, if you will, if to use a Christian term, but key wisdom source. For Judaism, it's the Torah. For Christianity, it's the Bible. For Hindu, it's the Bhagavad Gita. For Muslims, it's the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, and the books and writings and everything that have evolved from that. Okay, so lots to hear. Another, I think part of being Jewish is that the innate desire to question things. Rabbis sit around all day and question the Torah. Giving yourself the room to question things in a religion just breeds thinking. Okay? Now, this is, to me, a delicate balance. Delicate is probably not the appropriate word here. It is important, from my perspective, when reading a wisdom document, to question it to make sure you understand it, but to question it to think that it's not true on these great wisdom sources. As a mere mortal struggling along the spiritual path, I'm going to question the Word of God as it comes through the authors who wrote the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, through the Prophet Muhammad, through the great documents within Judaism, through Buddhism with Buddha. No, I don't think so. If questioning is about engaging and making sure you really understand it, I think that's productive. But if it's just questioning to ask questions and all that sort of stuff, it just breeds thinking, because we are mere mortals. And I use that term to say the vast majority of us, if not everyone listening to this, is not a God-realized being. Who are we to question? Now, the ego says, hey, me. Well, that's the ego, and that's part of the problem, okay? Next, the observant Jew has his own sense of values. Torah Judaism is his blueprint for this life, his target for existence. Again, these great sources of wisdom, like the Torah, that's exactly what I encourage you to view, whether it's the Bhagavad Gita, the teachings of Buddha, the Christian Bible, the Prophet Muhammad, and others. Paramahansa Yogananda, for example, share with you wisdom that's a blueprint for this life. These blueprints are helping me immeasurably. Somebody who needs help, okay? So, consider this carefully. And if you want to know more, you can go to mywisdominspiredlife.com. You can listen to the podcast there. As you well know by now, if you've been listening for a while, you know I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey to help people live more of a wisdom-inspired life, because there are great benefits to the individual and to the people that you then subsequently help and touch. Okay? Thank you for being part of that journey today, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.